Welcome, ladies and gents. We have the grand final. The grand final of the first Players One tournament. And I'm not going to commentate it because Shane just sat down, so he can commentate on it because he knows about round ball and I
Grand.
don't.
So I'll pass this over.
All right, and I'll pass this over.
Okay, so we're at
This is the
the inaugural Players One FIFA final between Nathan and Camille. They've played already. It was a tight match. It was
both of them have walloped me by 7 goals to something.
Ouch, that's hammerings. That's hammerings. And I think it was 2-1 last time. Is that right, Brian? 2-1. I think it was
Shane, was it?
2-1 to Nathan. To Nathan.
To Nathan.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying.
So you've heard of Mayweather and Pacquiao. You've heard of McGregor and Aldo. Yeah. This is Camille and Nathan. I don't. Are we charging pay-per-view on this? Are we pay-per-view? Yeah.
It would be nice. It would be nice to get that.
50 quid. It's only 25 to see Mayweather.
It's on Sky Box Office.
And we're going
And
for
in
same
classic,
same
in
teams
classic
and same
FIFA
colours.
style.
Pink v white.
In classic
Real,
FIFA
yeah?
style, we have Real Madrid versus Real Madrid. No electricity league action for these boys.
Boo, I would have liked a bit of electricity league action. Big time. So what have we got here? What formations? We've got a 4-3-2-1, no 4-5-1, and a 4-3-3 holding, which is quite defensive. So Camille's formation is a defensive 4-3-3. Basically, it's kind of like 3 holding midfielders, 3 cent, and nothing between them and the attackers.
Yeah, but like with Real Madrid, that just works fine because all 3 of their attackers are pacey. So you just do
just
through
yeah,
balls
yeah,
and they
yeah.
run onto them. Like.
Welcome to La Liga. Today it's Real Madrid against Real Madrid. Your commentary team is Martin Tyler and Alan.
Nathan is tipping off in pink, I think, same as last time, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I assume he's on the right hand side.
And he's just feeling his way around to start with, a few passes in midfield. A bit of nervousness there, I think. Do you look a bit nervous? A little bit of nervousness. Moving the ball a bit quicker than normal.
Valente Larrazabal ready to get the game underway.
This is pensive. You'll see Camille's team is pretty much dropped all behind the ball. Quite defensive. He's basically just 7 players sitting deep.
They've both just left themselves unbalanced for the.
And he's got
Right,
one striker up, and he's hoping to get. Camille will be hoping to get him
Oh.
on a break here, you know.
Terrible. Should have finished that.
So this formation, it should play out Nathan more possession and Camille looking to get him on a counter really.
You're clearly a man who has put some time into FIFA then.
Or spoof a little bit. I like to spoof it a bit as well.
Now he's looking for support. Cristiano Ronaldo.
See, this is like he's choosing Real, but this is Barcelona football. It's tiki-taka stuff, 30 yards from goal. Nathan is just basically waiting for Camille make a mistake with the centre half, draw him out of position.
Nice.
A bit like that.
There he is.
Yeah, it would have been nice if the first one went in. The rebound was a bit cheesy.
It doesn't matter though.
You take him.
Ronaldo was broken. Like.
Now we'll be interested to see if we have any tactical change
I
from
don't know.
Nathan here, because he was a bit nervous last time. Camille, when he scored a goal against him, he went 5-3-2, but he's not going defensive too early on.
I don't know what Nathan did or what Camille has done, but Nathan every time he plays moves Ronaldo from the left into the centre and has him as
plays him
his
in,
main
yeah,
striker
yeah, exactly, rather than the winger, yeah.
instead of having Benzema in there.
He might be through.
So does he put Benzema out left or what way does he do it?
I actually didn't. He made the change that quick. It was actually hard to see, to be honest. I'm just kind of watching here. That is
Benzema out
that's
left,
Benzema now, yeah, on the ball on the left. So he's basically the left winger, Ronaldo in the middle. Just swap Benzema and Ronaldo, really.
And he'll get it back again.
See, a clue now of a defensive player, even if they're not playing defensive formation, right? You see, I'll wait now till Camille gets the ball in midfield again. See, when Camille picks the ball up in midfield, you think he's going to pass it forward quite quickly, but he holds possession with that player, turns back facing his own goal. In other words, he's protecting the ball from the tackle, but he'd rather hold possession. Now that lets Nathan filter players back, but he's basically trying to build up attacks through possession football, which is tough against Nathan because he's so good, and you don't hold enough possession maybe to do that.
Yeah.
Probably he worked against me anyway when he beat me.
I'll tell you, my problem with this game is that I haven't got a clue how to defend. Like, you know,
Defensive is so the biggest probably change 14 to 15 is defending, and one missed stand-in tackle and your whole defense is open. So actually, what most players are doing is rather than tackling themselves, their controlled player, they'll drop a little deep, and they'll use the kind of pressure button to send the AI player.
all right. See, I don't know there's a pressure button.
Yeah,
that's
oh, you need a pressure. If you're not using a pressure button, you're not defending really. So basically, there's a pressure button that'll send an AI player to close down the player on the ball, right? So you can tell it when you're watching it based on obviously the arrow over the head. The arrow over the head is who's being controlled. But you see the way it was there a second ago. Camille took the player with the red. He's not going to the ball. He's marking the other player. See the way the guy with the red arrow, he keeps dropping a bit deeper. He's not attacking the ball himself. He's dropping that player back to mark the runner.
all right. So how do you apply the pressure?
And then I'm trying to remember buttons here. For basically the right top trigger is
so right bumper on a
right bumper. So you're just holding that down, and that will send the AI player in to make the tackle, and it'll allow you to mark the runner because the AI is too stupid to mark the runner. The AI is not going to mark the runner for you.
I might not have conceded 20 odd goals had I known about that.
That's the first button you press the next time you play should be RB or R1, depending on which console you're on.
Oh, has to be. Oh.
I'm going to pull out a few examples of it happening here for you now. Now, there you go. Nathan's doing it now. Nathan's doing it now. He's running away from the ball. See, he's running back to the player that he thinks. Nathan now is more aggressive in it, and I noticed this when I was playing him. What he does is he's actually preempting where you're going to pass it. He's probably looking at you in possession and going, if I was him, where would I pass it? And he's moving his defender there. That's what he's doing. And then that's why when you feel like you're passing the ball, he keeps intercepting it, and that's because he's putting his player in the position to intercept because he's predicting where you're going to pass it. And that's how he wins the ball back so frequent.
I don't know what setting these boys are using, but like when you were playing, when I was playing, the first time I played FIFA 15 is tonight, but I played a fair bit of FIFA 14.
Yeah.
And we used to set it to air balls for the automatic changes of players, so it'll only change on the long balls. Yeah,
a lot of that is kind of preference. I set it to totally manual, which means you have to change your player
for every single time.
For everything, yeah. Air balls kind of makes sense if there's a long ball, it'll do it for you, and that kind of helps because you can't necessarily see who's off the screen. So that if there's a long ball up the pitch, the AI is pretty good at selecting the right player because it has time to do it. Whereas if you're on totally automatic, what you will find is it's hard to always select the player you want. And sometimes the game will select the player you don't want for you. And particularly in the example we talked about defending there, where you're trying to send an AI player to do the tackling. The auto pick will tend to pick the closest player to the ball. And when you're defending, you don't want that. You don't want to be the guy closing down the ball. You want to be the guy.
I definitely didn't like having automatic change on because like that. It just if there was a few players close to each other, you just end up controlling the three of them in quick succession. You just run away from the ball constantly.
Yeah. Now, the manual selection isn't perfect either. Sometimes you're pressing it and you're not picking the player that's in your mind's eye. You know what I mean? You have to play it a couple of times. But it's good. The level of control you get is so superior to automatic. So yeah, you should definitely always be on at least air ball, if not manual. But yeah, the pressure button is probably underutilized in casual players, and like it's not a FIFA 15 thing. It's been there for quite a few years since they changed control scheme, which I think was FIFA 13. Yeah. So since then they've had that pressure button. So the last 3 years they've had that, and it's important to get used to that. Otherwise you can't really defend. notice where the red arrow is, right? It's close. Game changed up a bit quick to kind of pull it out, but we might see it on commentary in the edits afterwards. But you'll notice that the blue player or the arrowed player is dropping deep all the time.
Yeah.
He's not going for the ball.
And if you were chasing a game like this and you were running out of time, would you use the D-pad and switch to attacking, or would you change formation?
I would, and that may be kind of my downfall. That's why we went from like 7-8 was 2-1 up to I think about 50 odd minutes or so. But then I changed to attacking, and to be honest, then he just pulled me apart, and it ended up 7-1. But like if I didn't do that, I wasn't gonna have a chance really to get back in anyway. It was clear. So it's kind of sometimes you see a guy getting hammered, but like there mightn't necessarily be that much between them. It's just that he's gone for the jugular when he was a goal down or something, and as a result got done on the counter attack, you know. But yeah, I would definitely use the D-pad to change to auto attack. Maybe not this early, but certainly by the time it got to 70 minutes, I'd be doing that. There's only a goal in this, so anything could happen here really. Like this is a lot of possession and interchange of midfield. There actually hasn't been very many chances on goal here, and that's because both players are excellent in defence. But even though Nathan has a lot of the possession, Camille has probably the best aspect of his game. He'll probably say this himself, is his defence. He doesn't give up chances really.
Right.
And again, but that probably limits his attack sometimes. So you'll see, I'll point out next time he picks up the ball in midfield. Next time his midfielder picks up the ball, watch how there may be an option to pass on to a runner, but he'll actually take it and he'll turn the player in possession back towards goal. And what that is, he's rather than take the risk of losing the ball on an interception or getting tackled, he'll particularly if there's a player close to him, he'll take the ball in.
Didn't actually get possession there.
Yeah, he didn't get it, but you'll see it, particularly if there's a opposing player close to him, he'll turn back towards goal. Like, it's quite hard to dispossess you then.
Everyone knows he's the playmaker, so if you're given the ball by him, you've got to
So obviously as a defender, you're protecting your goal, you're trying to get between the attacker and goal, so you'll prioritise that. So when he turns away, you won't get that tackle.
Ah, nice. That has to be over now.
It's a terrific goal and a terrific time.
Camille's going to have to go a lot more attacking if he wants to try to win this
I
now.
haven't noticed him change his tactic now, to be honest. It seems to have kept it fairly consistent without it. He hasn't.
Yeah, the collisions, player collisions in this game seem to be like really exaggerated. Like
They
two
can
players
be,
bump into each other, and then
they
like,
seem like they pause for 2 seconds
yeah, and then
before
they
get
just
up.
do a big jump into the air. Like.
Yeah. Well, while we're on FIFA bashing, because there's a lot of complaints with FIFA 15 and people saying it's broken and they don't like different aspects of it, but like the biggest single problem for casual players, I think, is scripting on online. So basically what that is you're playing online, you win 5 matches in a row, let's say, and the game seems to want to build drama in matches, so it will kind of give your next player you play who may have lost 5 matches in a row the advantage, and they'll do that by
their players,
by ridiculous keeper saves, by you hitting posts on tap-ins, by your AI giving away a penalty. One of the funniest ones I saw is like a centre half literally jump on the ground, like literally ball is coming into his feet, and before the ball gets there he jumps on the ground, and they'll do, and some people say scripting. EA don't say they're scripting, you know what I mean? There's nothing official, but anyone who plays online will have seen it, like, you know what I mean? You're dominating.
Well, you even see it. It's like one thing that really, not sure if it's as prevalent in this version, but in FIFA 14 it was horrible. Like, you play a through ball to someone like
round the keeper. Oh, I knew he was going to
you play a through ball to someone like Ronaldo or Bale or something, who's just a ridiculously quick player, and they're outpacing them, and then all of a sudden this defender just catches them up.
Yeah,
and just because they
got
have the ball,
boost.
you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
It just slows down players on the ball like a ridiculous amount. Like.
Yeah, one of the most frequent tactics you'll see is players pick teams with 4-3-3 and 2 wide, a right winger and a left winger, and they'll play long diagonals, particularly to a Ronaldo or a Messi. And they'll try and cut inside. So in this situation, he'll pull back. There you go. See that? Pulls back and tries to cut inside. Now Camille defended that quite well because there wasn't much room to pull back.
Except for the fact there's a penalty now.
But if there was a yard ahead, he'd pull inside and he'd take
he's
that
gone
shot
for the classic hide the pad tactic.
Dummies the shot, taps it in. 3-0 victory here. The first match between these guys was a bit tighter now.
Yeah, I think
But there's very little chances here. Nobody's getting like the three. Fairness, Camille's given up 3 chances and Nathan scored 3 times. That's what's happened here.
Nathan is clearly the best player here.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's
Without a doubt.
fairly safe to say.
By a distance.
There we go.
By a distance.
And our first As One Productions Play As One champion is Nathan from FIFA, and Camille
Inaugural winner.
is
Congratulations.
second place.
Both guys are good sports, good players.
And let's call it a night.
Adios.
Bye bye.
All right, Doom here. So that's the conclusion of our first Play As One events. As usual, I'd like to thank Player1.ie, who've provided a lot of the prizes we'll be giving out tonight. And this event was put on by As One Productions. It's been a good night, our first event. Hopefully the first of many. I hope you enjoyed it. So good night.